When I first met her, it didn't feel like a random moment. It felt like the beginning of something real. You know that quiet certainty that creeps into your chest without warning? Like you've found something, someone, you didn't even know you were searching for. That's how it felt with her. She had this calm energy, like her presence alone could slow down the chaos in my mind. And she was honest, almost too honest. But I liked that about her. It made everything feel open, sincere, safe. She told me early on that she had just gotten out of a long-term relationship. 2 years. She didn't try to hide it or make it sound prettier than it was. She said, "I don't even know if I was ever in love with him. Not real love." At first, that confused me. How do you stay with someone for 2 years and not know if you were truly in love? But the more she explained, the more I understood. He was perfect on paper, she said. Thoughtful, sweet, the kind of guy you're supposed to want. But I never felt seen. She tried to make it work over and over, told herself that love would grow if she just gave it time, that the missing pieces were her fault, that maybe she just wasn't trying hard enough. But deep down, she knew it wasn't right. It wasn't what her heart was aching for. Eventually, the weight of pretending wore her down, and she ended it. Then she met me, and suddenly, she said, things felt light again. She laughed more, slept better, smiled in the middle of sentences like there was this new hope blooming in her chest. And I felt it too. We weren't just two people talking, we were connecting. And not just the surface stuff, real things, childhood wounds, late-night fears, dreams we were too scared to say out loud. It wasn't perfect, but it felt raw and real. For the first time in a long time, I believed that maybe, just maybe, I could build something with someone again. And she said she felt the same. But nothing in life stays simple for long. Just when we were starting to build something meaningful, he came back, her ex, and everything began to change. He didn't just text. He showed up, like something out of a movie. Flowers in hand, a giant teddy bear, long letters that looked like they belonged in a forgotten diary from high school. It would have been comical if it hadn't been so calculated. She told me about it right away. He says he's changed, she said, eyes heavy with confusion, that he finally understands what he lost. At first, I wasn't worried. I trusted her. She had been honest with me from the beginning. She never pretended to be fully healed, never pretended that her past didn't still echo in parts of her heart. And when he first started reaching out, she made it clear she wanted nothing to do with him. She said, "I'm with you. I'm happy. But people who know you well, they know exactly where to push." He didn't come back begging. He came back playing every note she used to want to hear. The romantic letters, the vulnerable apologies, the sudden understanding of everything she ever complained about. It wasn't just about love. It was guilt, nostalgia, comfort, the old version of safety. And that's the part that scared me. She tried to resist. God, I could see her trying. She would show me his texts, ask me what I thought. She even joked about how ridiculous he was being. But slowly, something in her started to shift. Her laughs became less frequent. She'd go quiet sometimes, staring into space, like she was somewhere else. "He's not who I want," she told me one night, "but he was my safe place for a long time. And part of me still wants to believe that the dream I once had with him could come true." That was the first time I felt truly scared. She was slipping, emotionally, and I didn't know how to hold on to her without feeling like I was grasping at air. And then she said the thing I didn't want to hear. "I think I need to see him, one more time, just for closure." I didn't want to say yes. Every part of me screamed not to. But how do you stop someone from chasing clarity when they're drowning in confusion? I told her, if that's what you need to move forward, do it. She thanked me, and then she went, and I didn't hear from her again. Until a week later. 7 days. 7 days of silence. No texts, no calls, no word. At first, I told myself to stay calm, that she just needed time, that maybe they met, talked, maybe even cried a little. Maybe she finally closed the door for good. But the longer the silence stretched, the more my mind became a battlefield. couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every vibration on my phone shot panic through my veins. I tried not to imagine the worst, but when someone you love walks straight into the arms of someone who used to hold their heart, it's impossible not to wonder. On the 8th day, she came to my place. No warning, just knocked. When I opened the door, my breath caught in my throat. She looked wrecked, eyes red, shoulders small, like she hadn't slept in days, like whatever she had gone searching for had torn her apart instead of giving her peace. She didn't even say hi. She just stepped inside, trembling, and whispered, "I need to tell you something." We sat down, silence for what felt like hours, and then she started speaking. Her voice was soft, breaking in places. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She told me everything. How she met him in a park, the one they used to walk through when they were still together. How they sat on the same old bench and talked for hours. About everything. About the breakup. About the pain. About the regrets. She said for the first time he was raw. Vulnerable. Not the perfect on-paper version, but the broken boy she once fell for. And it pulled her in. She said she didn't go there planning anything. That she was sure it would be goodbye. But somehow, after all the emotions, the memories, the tears, they ended up in his apartment. She cried as she told me. "He kissed me," she said. And for a second, I didn't pull away. Her voice cracked. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Felt like being wrapped in a memory I didn't even want anymore. But it was familiar, and I was scared of messing up something new with you, so I ran to something old. Something I already knew how to survive. And then she looked at me, right in the eyes. And we slept together. Time stopped. I didn't speak. Couldn't. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. My brain couldn't even form a reaction. It was like someone pressed pause on my entire nervous system. But my heart felt like it was bleeding out inside my chest. She kept talking. "I wanted to tell you right away, but I didn't even know how to face myself, let alone you. It didn't feel right. Even in the middle of it, it felt wrong. I kept thinking of you, of how safe you made me feel, of how I was finally starting to fall in love again, and how I just destroyed it. I didn't want to hear more, but I also needed to." She told me she didn't stay the night, that the moment it was over, she broke down, told him it was a mistake, that she didn't love him, that she'd just shattered the only real connection she'd had in years. She said he tried to convince her to stay, told her it was proof that they still had something. But she walked out, and she ended it completely, this time for real. "I've lost your trust," she said. "I know I have, but I had to tell you. Couldn't lie to you, not after everything you've given me." She sat there waiting for my judgment, for me to tell her she was a monster, that she didn't deserve forgiveness, that it was over, that I hated her. But I couldn't say any of those things, because I didn't hate her. I hated what she did. I hated that it happened. But when I looked at her, all I saw was a broken person. Someone who had been trying so hard to do the right thing and failed. Someone who let fear and old wounds make a choice for her. Someone who didn't cheat because she stopped caring, but because she got overwhelmed, lost, manipulated. And now, she was drowning in the guilt of it. The silence between us after she confessed wasn't just quiet. It was heavy, like the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know what I felt. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to rewind time. But most of all, I just wanted it not to be real. I looked at her, sitting there, small, shaking, and for a second I didn't see a cheater. I saw a scared girl, haunted by her own choices. Someone who hadn't just broken me. She had broken herself in the process. But that didn't make it hurt less. I asked her to leave. Not because I didn't want her near me, but because I knew if she stayed, I'd either explode or collapse, and I didn't want her to see either. She nodded without argument, got up, walked to the door. But before leaving, she turned around and whispered, "I'm so sorry," and then she was gone. The hours after that were a blur. I paced. I drank. I tried calling friends, then hung up before anyone answered. How do you explain that someone you trusted, someone who made you believe again, just tore the floor out from under you? I didn't sleep that night, or the one after. For the next week, I lived in this weird in-between state. Half angry, half empty. I'd replay moments in my head, her smile, her laugh, the way she used to look at me like I was the only person in the world. And now all of that felt poisoned. She reached out a few times, never pressured me, just checked in. "I'm here," she texted. "Whenever you're ready to talk. If you ever want to." Part of me wanted to block her, ghost her, give her the pain I was feeling. But a louder part, the one that still remembered what it felt like to be with her, couldn't let go that easily. A week later, we met again. I didn't plan it. I was walking home from work and saw her sitting on a bench near the cafe we used to go to. Our eyes met. She didn't smile, didn't even stand. She just looked at me like she didn't expect forgiveness, only hoped to be seen. I walked over. We sat in silence for what felt like forever. And then she spoke. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said quietly. "I just need you to know. I've never hated myself more than I do right now." I looked at her, really looked at her, and I could see it, the weight she was carrying. Not for show, not for pity. It was eating her alive. She told me she'd cut him off completely, blocked everything. She'd even started seeing a therapist, trying to figure out why she couldn't let go of people who hurt her, why she kept trying to fix the past instead of building the future. "I don't want to be that person," she said. "The one who ruins things, the one who betrays people she loves." And that's when it hit me. She did love me, maybe not perfectly, maybe not in a way that was ready, but it was real, and messy, and flawed, and now broken, and I didn't know what to do with that. I told her the truth, that I didn't trust her, that I didn't know if I ever could again. That part of me wanted to give her another chance. But the other part was terrified, terrified of getting hurt all over again. She nodded, took it, didn't argue. "I just needed you to know I still believe in us," she said, "even if I'm the reason it fell apart." And with that, she stood and walked away, leaving me with the one question I still couldn't answer. Should I forgive her? I kept asking myself the same question over and over. Should I forgive her? But forgiveness isn't a yes or no switch. It's not something you just decide one morning like picking a shirt from a closet. Forgiveness is war. A war between your mind and your heart, between your past and your possible future, between your pride and your pain. And I was losing on all fronts. I thought about what she did. Not just the cheating, but the days before. The warning signs, the emotional drift, the way she let that door reopen even slightly until the whole storm came crashing in. She could have stopped it. She knew what was at stake, but she didn't stop it. And that tore something in me. But then I thought about what came after. The way she looked when she told me. No defense. No lies. No, I was drunk, or it didn't mean anything. Just truth. Raw, painful truth. She didn't come to me to save the relationship. She came because she couldn't live with herself if she lied. And there's something brutally honest about that. Still, honesty after betrayal doesn't erase the betrayal. And that's where I stayed stuck. Between two equally real truths. She broke my heart. She still loved me. I started writing down everything I was feeling. Not because I wanted to process. I didn't even know what that meant anymore. I just needed to get it out. I wrote letters to her I'd never send. I replayed our conversations, our laughs, even the stupid fights we had about pizza toppings. I missed it all, and I hated that I missed it, because how can you miss someone who hurt you this much? And yet, I did. I also started thinking about her ex, how he waited, calculated, showed up when things finally started to feel real between us, how he dangled their old love in front of her like a trap, and how she stepped right into it. Was he the villain? Maybe, but this wasn't his story. This was ours. And in our story, she had made a terrible, devastating choice. But she wasn't a terrible person. She was human, flawed, broken in places she hadn't healed yet. Someone who wanted love so badly that when the past came knocking, dressed like a second chance. She opened the door, not to run from me, but to run from the fear of losing something she never fully understood. Maybe that's what scared me most, that we were both just two scared people who met in the middle of healing, that we loved each other from our wounds instead of our wholeness. And maybe, just maybe, we weren't ready yet. Not for forever. But then again, whoever is. I never gave her an answer. Not a final one. I saw her once more, weeks later, sitting alone, reading something at a cafe window. Her hair tucked behind her ear the way she always did when she was nervous. She didn't see me. I just stood there for a moment and watched her, wondering if she still thought about me the way I still thought about her. I walked away, not because I didn't love her, but because sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes love needs time, distance, space to grow in the dark before it can bloom in the light. So, did I forgive her? I think I'm still trying. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's not about forgetting. It's about choosing not to carry someone else's mistake as your own burden forever. It's about letting go of the version of yourself that was betrayed, so you can become the version that heals. And maybe someday, when the wounds become scars, I'll look back at her not with pain, but with peace. And maybe, just maybe, she'll look back too, and remember the version of us that almost made it.